The biggest offseason need for the 49ers, other than quarterback, we just touched on a few of them, but let's talk about this because they got other ones. Who's going first here? Maverick?
Yeah. I would say they need tougher offensive linemen, and I just think that Shanahan wants to be able to run the ball. And although Minnesota doesn't have the best offensive line, I think they actually have one of the more mediocre lines in the NFL. What they did do is they drafted a lot of linemen that are tough, and they run the ball with Dalvin Cook, and that's how they've turned it around this season. They were one of the worst in the NFL, and then starting with that Seattle game, even though they lost, they turned it around by just running with Madison and then Cook, and that's with their linemen. They have Drew Samia, who I think is one of the worst pass blockers in the NFL, but he's a mauler, and he's kind of like Mike Iupati in that sense where he'll give you a good run block, and I think they need more tough offensive linemen, especially on the interior.
Oklahoma, Drew Samia. I mean, only way I know is because I put him in like one mock draft one time. That's how I learned these players. Okay, Jose, you're up.
No, dude, Maverick was on money on that. Please draft an offensive lineman because all this reason why McGlinchey is skinny. Oh, Shanahan wants the speedster at the offensive lineman. They need maulers. All right, get out there. But I don't want to just piggyback off that. How about edge rusher? Like, let's invest in another edge rusher at some point down the line because D Ford is not there. And personally, as much as D4 was a linchpin in that defense last year, you could see it this year and see how when he was off the field last year. I don't think it's specifically a D4 trait. It's just can we get an adequate pass rusher on the edge trait? You know, it's as long as there's Bosa there and just someone adequate on the other side, someone that you can build around, someone like maybe not so much early pick because then at that point you're just gonna be hamstrung about who you're gonna pay for unless you're just okay with just like, all right, we'll use you for 4 years and I'll go away. So edge rusher is someone we want to consider for depth purposes as well, for start purposes, for all the reasons why. Because as you can see right now, when this defense doesn't have a pass rush as well as they're doing this season, they're doing a great job this season without it. But still, that pass rush is what can make this defense so elite. And without it, they're not the best in the league.
I think Mav hit it right. That's the number one area that they need to improve is going to be the offensive line because that's what's holding this offense back. Offense, we keep hearing about all the playmakers, but they can't make plays because the quarterback can't stay on his feet. So since Mav already said that one, I'm going to go cornerback. The 49ers have no DBs really coming back next year other than Moore and Ward. So they really need to focus on and look in that direction coming up in the offseason.
Yeah, I offensive line for sure, but I really think it's cornerback. And I guess, they're both equally there. They might have to get an offensive tackle. That's tough to find. But corners are just really, really tough to find. You got to really get one in the first round if you want a good one. Yeah. And the way I look at the Niners is Jason Verrett. Yeah, definitely re-sign him. I like him. He's good. Richard Sherman, no. Emmanuel Mosley, yes. But Mosley can't match up with DeAndre Hopkins and DK Metcalf. We've seen that. The Niners need a special corner to match up with those special players, just the way Arizona went and got Isaiah Simmons specifically for George Kittle. You have to account for these guys because they're beating you. You're losing games because you can't match up with these specific players. So there's a lot of good corners coming out this year. I don't know if the Niners want to take that with their first pick, with their second pick, but one or the other. I don't see any corners that they can get in free agency. So I'm going – it's every year I say corner, but it's a serious position. I mean it. I really mean it this time, guys.